ressenti partout.
We got a stack show for you tonight. So let's get into some of it. I actually would like to start with a bit of an epiphany that I had just the last week. Uh, I really wish that we were able to stream because I would have liked to share this epiphany earlier. But you know, uh, day late, dollar short, and all that.
Hey,
But yeah, I was just thinking about masks, like the whole oh, everyone has to wear masks or cover their faces. Um, and if it isn't obvious, I'm staunchly against this. Um, not just not just for the sake of being a contrarian, um, but but also like this. This is conditioning. Uh, this is a social conditioning for for people. And it's like the masks. If you embrace the mask now, they'll never leave. And I was thinking, and I was and I was just and I was thinking about it, and I mean, I didn't, props to Owen Benjamin because I watch his streams and they're very helpful. And one of the things he made me realize is they wear the mask to hide their shame. Um, uh, and I was just thinking about that, and it reminded me of my childhood in that you know. Before society was all about embracing diversity and accepting people for how and who they are. I would get a lot of looks. You know, yeah, back when people would be at least honest with you, just call you a freak. Uh, you know, but yeah, I know you are. I don't know what it is, but tonight you're just you're just like zero fucks given tonight.
pretty much.
Yeah. Which which does fit into my story. So it's not unwelcome tonight. It's not unwelcome tonight. But it just got reminding me of my childhood and about hiding shame because when people would because people would stare at me and I would get self-conscious and I would immediately put my hands in my pockets or I'd cross my arms because I was embarrassed or I was ashamed and I was trying to hide the thing that I was ashamed of. Uh, but now it's the world the world has changed and especially now everything has changed. Now people are hiding away their faces. They're hiding away the things that the media is telling that we should be ashamed of, which is our mouths, our noses, because that's because those are the things that are spreading the virus supposedly. And so it's yeah, so when Owen Benjamin said like, oh, the reason why people are wearing the mask is to hide their shame, the shame that that they somehow deserve this or they somehow are this shaming is somehow warranted. And that's when I realized that that's what enforced like my resolve into not wearing a mask because it just reminded me too much of my childhood. It's like I'm not ashamed. I know that there's nothing wrong with me. For to put on a mask is saying that there's something wrong with me. And and I think and I hope people start to realize that themselves too. That when you put on when you put on a mask, it's saying that there's something wrong with you, and that people should stay away from it.
the when we look before all this happened, a lot of the times when you see the mask, you look to like places like China or Korea or Japan. There's a lot of the people that wore those, they were sick. Like they maybe had a cold or something like that. That's why they would wear the mask. So you're kind of like trying to, in a sense, like not get people sick. Hiding your shame. Now it's like now they're just saying, oh, everyone's sick. You have the potential to spread the disease. So you all need to hide behind this thing. It's stupid. And a lot
Right,
of it
and
is now. Listen, I'll do anything. Like as an American, like I'm all for you know helping out, like and sacrificing for
right, civil
doing
duties,
something.
civil duties.
Civil duties. Yeah, there is a civil duty. Um, and if someone's like and kind of like also going to the Christian model of yes, I do have a lot of liberties and freedoms that Christ gives me. But sometimes there are people who are weaker in the faith that by me doing those things, it's going to harm them. So as a
Right,
way,
it's like the
like,
idea of not stumbling your brother.
right, exactly. So in some cases, like I'll wear it just because I don't want someone else to kind of like freak out and then they're not able to do their work or whatever, or they're not able to not to say be comfortable, but like where I don't have they don't have to like fear. So it's like if maybe me putting it on like helps them out, I'm all for it. That's fine. That's great. But when it's like when it's forced upon me, that's when I have like okay, see now you're forcing stuff. You're not you're not allowing people to do things, and create opportunities for people to be nice to be kind and dutiful to one another. And now it just causes resentment, and we're starting to
Right,
see like, a lot of that resentment start to bubble up to the surface.
right, yeah, with especially with all the protests going on, people are because
Deserved,
people are starting,
deservedly so.
yeah, deservedly so, and completely understandable. It's just like it's we're coming up on a month and a half
Yeah,
since
these
it's,
states are moving.
at least since L.A. California has been locked down because we were locked down pretty much like a day or two before St. Patrick's Day, so like
Yep.
16, 17 around there. So we're like coming up on a month and a half,
Yeah,
and it's just like how much longer are we expected to stay put? You know?
and it's like because you have I know like here they're talking about like June. I'm like fuck no, they're not. Over my dead
Yeah, and
body.
especially with like with the weather getting hotter. I mean, it's already we're already starting to have like 90-degree days. At currently at the highest. I can I'm not looking forward to a June uh, being trapped inside, and also the cost of being being indoors, um, constantly using appliances or having TVs on, or even the air conditioning.
Fuck up the power. It's
Especially. I'm sorry.
gonna fuck up the power grid.
Right, power grid, but also there'll be a cost to the, the citizen, because if they're not working, how are they supposed to pay for like their utilities, or pay for their their groceries, or pay for their car, their car thing. And I know a lot of things have been um, what's that word I'm looking a lot of companies have kind of stepped up and said, like, all right, we'll push back all the payments like a month or so, or there was like a few of like the insurance companies that said, hey, during this time we'll give back like a portion of like the payment that you gave us for the month,
Right.
which is all fine and good, but it's like another month, another 2 months, of just
And
being
they're even
locked down.
yeah,
It's
they're even talking about like doing another like stimulus package. Like fuck no.
right, and it's just like, and at this point, it's just like they're not even like giving back. our own tax money, but they're just making up, they're just literally just printing it,
Yeah,
which is gonna devalue the money that's already in our accounts or in our savings account, in our 401ks or whatever.
which
You
has
know,
historically worked out fantastic for Germany back in World War I, all these other countries.
any civilization that just waters down their currency is just on the
Yeah,
on,
and
on the on the fast track to collapse.
well,
Um,
it's to me though, I think this speaks volumes as to why 'cause I mean, I'm always talking shit about the government and like how I think the majority of them could go away and we wouldn't miss a beat.
mhm.
And especially now, like, I think all these state people from the federal government should be fucking worried because uh, it's people are starting to get pissed off, and I think we're going to see hopefully some big changes out of this and get rid of some of these fucking people because they are awful. And I think people are saying it's like, oh well, government maybe they can't really help. Yeah, no shit. We've been saying that for how long? The worst
Yeah,
words you can hear are, "I'm from the government. I'm here to help."
right. Um, but yes, but to give a quick uh, anecdote. Jeez. Sorry, I have meat brain right now. I had a really good steak, so I'm just.
Okay, yeah. The
Anyways,
heat. It's
yeah. Quick little anecdote about masks. Just to finish off, just to cap off my epiphany about the masks. Why no one should wear them. Uh, but I'm not saying don't wear the mask. You want to wear the mask, do wear the masks. I would recommend them not to, because you shouldn't be ashamed of yourself. If you're not sick, then you shouldn't be ashamed. You shouldn't be fear that you could get someone sick, or that you can get someone sick, because one, viruses aren't spread through mucus or through the mucosa of human beings.
yep.
Um,
Everyone seemed to forget their biology class.
and viruses, they're not spread through the air. If that was the case, then AIDS could, if someone who had AIDS sneezed on you, then that give you
Dead. Yeah.
AIDS, but it doesn't. So
Piece
it's
of cake.
it's completely retarded for people to think, oh, the virus is airborne now. Um, but just a quick little anecdote. This today, I went out to the store with my dad, and my dad was, he's similar to me, where he's like, this is stupid. I'm not gonna wear a mask. But he, I mean, I think in his younger days he would have been more of like, fuck you. But as he's gotten older, he's become more temperate, and so he's like, oh, I don't want the hassle, so he just put on the mask. He's telling me to put on the mask too, but I I looked him in the eye and said, Dad, no one's gonna say anything to me. Watch. And so for one specific reason, but the other reason is because people are cowards. But anyways, so we're walking into the grocery store. My dad has his mask on. I'm not. I see everyone around me with masks and gloves, and yeah, and no one says anything. Spoiler alert: nobody says anything. I'm walking around. I'm looking at things. I'm clicking up to look at nutritional facts and whatever. But no one says anything to me. Nobody says anything to me. And nobody says to me. Not even I, and not just, and I wasn't doing this, just for the sake of being a rebel and being a contrarian. I actually had a mask in my pocket with me, and I made the rule for myself: if someone from the store, or if someone, an agent of whatever place I go to, asks me to put on the mask, I'll put on the mask. Because again, just like as Robert said, the whole idea of like civic duty and kind of like that Christian principle of not stumbling anybody. So if someone working at the store, or if I go somewhere else, and an agent of an employee of that place, or an agent of speaking on the behalf of the business, ask me to put on a mask, I will put on the mask. But guess what? Nobody said anything to me. Because guess what? Cripple beats coronavirus. That's the cure. Become a cripple. Exactly. Yes, join my
we'll just
cult.
mangle our hands.
I will bring
We'll
you.
mangle
I
each
will
other's
bring you
hands.
salvation. I will bring you
We'll,
salvation.
we'll have to stop. We won't need masks anymore.
Yeah, we won't. Yeah, we won't need masks anymore. Yeah, because I completely I called their bluff. I called their bluff. Like the state or the city mandated that people wear masks. I didn't wear a mask. No one said shit to me. I called their bluffs. I revealed their hypocrisy. I revealed their lack of resolve. Everyone's saying like, oh, you gotta, wear the mask to, for the sake of others, for the sake of, to make sure that we flatten the curve and whatever. It's like, here I am. I'm not wearing a mask. You guys made this huge, huge issue about masks and wearing them to make sure that you know that you feel thoroughly ashamed of yourself, and think of yourself as this diseased thing that'll get other people sick.
Right.
I completely even though they were masked, I completely unmasked them as cowards.
Yeah. Uh, I will. Yeah. Funny story about masks though. Like, I saw the best one at work. Um, there was this woman that came in,
Mm-hmm.
and the mask that she had on, it looked like one of those really um, terrible 1950s B science fiction film space helmet things. And I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. I mean, it's just it looks it's like one of those, like, if like you're in a uh like those like heat shield like suits or whatever, and it's like you just have like it's like the top part of that, and it was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, you were not gonna get sick. Take that thing off. You look ridiculous. Because everything else was like, she was wearing like kind of like skimpy clothing, but then she had that on. I was like, like what?
Yeah, because that makes sense. But I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, but
right.
I mean, I can also make an even more rational argument for not wearing masks. Is that they constrict respiratory function, and
Yeah.
they also trap, and it also traps carbon dioxide, which last I heard was bad for people to to
Oh no,
inhale.
it's so bad for the planet, our lovely planet.
Right. It's just like,
Gotta
yeah.
get rid
But
of it.
there's your simple and reasoned rebuttal against wearing masks. Like, if you're not someone who can make like the moral argument, about cowardice stick, then just say, hey, masks constrict respiratory function, and they trap in carbon dioxide, which is poisonous to the human body. So I'm not gonna wear
Yeah,
it. Especially, and I'm not gonna uh, try to hurt my lungs when there's this respiratory virus out there.
yeah, exactly. We're gonna get a bunch of people that are gonna end up getting carbon dioxide poisoning at some point if we
Yeah,
have
exactly. Yeah,
this.
because it's gonna weaken their immune system, and then they'll be susceptible to I don't want to say contract, but because I know that viruses are created in the body themselves, and they act as solvents. to cleanse out toxins or heavy metal buildup within human bodies.
But yeah, you're right, Andy. It, I I 100% agree. You and I think the same thing most of the time. It's like I think about this stuff all the time. It's so stupid.
Yeah, and I mean, if you need a reason to question the narrative in the media, just think about weapons of mass destruction, acid rain, uh,
Yeah, the ozone layer.
the ozone layer. Whatever happened to that? I thought Australia should have been uninhabitable by now, since they said like the biggest hole in the ozone was right over Australia.
Then there was. I mean, hell, did you
Oh,
read?
Y2K. Um,
I'm still worried about that one. I can't even begin to worry about coronavirus until I get rid of this damn Y2K problem.
I know. Did they fix it? I don't know. I, I,
I'll have to link you a video of these people that review the worst Y2K preparedness videos. Oh my god, it's fucking
yeah, I know. I knew someone who stopped getting his pool cleaned just so he could have like a fresh source of water in case of Armageddon happened. You
hilarious.
know
A fucking
what?
oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. So he stopped. So he stopped. Yeah. So he suspended like his pool cleaning services, or like at least he had him not put in chlorine.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, just so like he could have like drinking water access, so he could drink his pool water essentially.
Why don't you just lick it out of the toilet?
I know, might as well.
It's about as healthy.
It's about as healthy. Uh,
God,
uh, while we're still on this topic, or while we're still on this coronavirus topic, I don't want to talk about it too much for that long. But
yeah,
while we're still talking about it, I don't know if you saw it, but or I don't know if the people out there have heard, uh, but there was a study done by USC. And just
yeah,
look at this title. It says, hundreds of thousands in LA County may have been infected with the coronavirus study finds. But it should, it's so funny. The headline makes it sound worse than it actually is.
right.
Because actually, because what the study finds is actually a good thing. It's actually a good thing. Let me see. Yeah, 100,000 LA County infected. Um, the initial results from the first large-scale study tracking the spread of the coronavirus in the county found that 4.1% of adults have antibodies to the virus in their blood, an indication of past exposure. Past
Yeah,
exposure.
that's well, that's good news because those people are still alive, obviously.
Right, obviously. And so, yeah, that translates to roughly 221,000 to 442,000 adults who have recovered from an infection. Once margin of error is taken into account, according to the researchers conducting the study, the county had reported fewer than 8,000 cases at the time. Right at the time, and at the time of this study, I believe there are only about 800 deaths. 800
Yeah,
deaths, and yeah, but obviously, a lot of cases going. So they're saying that at the time, if You know, they're saying that close to a 250,000 to just south of 500,000 people had already had this thing.
That's
So
that's and everyone's fine.
yeah, I mean that sounds like good news to me. Call me stupid.
Sounds like,
Yeah, that sounds like great news.
but
But of course, they're reporting it like it's like a death sentence or like it's like the worst thing ever. It's like, oh, that means like this this the virus is spreads really really quickly. This that's one way of looking at it, but it's like yes, this virus is highly communicable, but it's not that deadly.
remember, Andy, good news doesn't sell.
I know, good
That's
news doesn't
our
sell.
our 24-hour mainstream media has to have their drug dealers. They need to peddle fear. That's the way that people keep coming
Yeah,
back.
I get that slow morphine drip of fear. But but again to kind of belabor the point. Two California doctors from Bakersfield, they administered 5,000 tests, and they said that the data is showing that that they could that we could the government could lift its stay-at-home order.
Yeah, yeah. I remember hearing about this article myself.
Right. Yeah, two doctors in California whose facilities administered more than 5,000 corona tests say the virus is not more deadly than the seasonal flu, and stay-at-home orders across the country should be lifted. Dr. Dan Erickson and Artin Masi, who co-own Accelerated Urgent Care Facilities in Kern County, said the death rate of the coronavirus is similar to prevalence to the flu. What was it?
Which we've been saying since January, but now that's it's not, but
Right,
it kind
yeah.
of is.
Yeah, here it says, if you study the numbers in 2017 and 2018, we had 50 to 60 million with the flu, and we had a similar death rate in the deaths in the United States, similar to the flu. We also had between 37,000 and 60,000 deaths in the United States. Those practically the same numbers, practically the same identical numbers as the seasonal flu. But in 2017 to 18, there was no call for lockdown orders or quarantine or social distancing or
Right.
as on this podcast on this show we call contagion negation.
Contagion. Oh yeah, people have found that term very clever. I've been using it a lot. The what do we call it? The boy, some studies that they're finding, like when you're looking into like like kind of these numbers and stuff, and yeah, how like we're looking in the past years of like the flu numbers, the flu deaths, and stuff like that, and all of a sudden, like now they're essentially, oh wow, the flu deaths have gone down, but like man, we have all these coronavirus, quote unquote deaths. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna call bullshit on that just because these numbers, these other numbers that you're contributing to coronavirus, like you're just siphoning them off of these other deaths because you're listing someone that's dying of this, or but then you're just saying like, oh yeah, they died of coronavirus.
Right. That
Like,
that
like how
Illinois, the Illinois public health or whatever lady came out and basically said that that's what they were doing. It's like, oh, even if you're suspected of coronavirus, you're put in the coronavirus count.
yeah,
It's
that's
like
not
even if we don't do a test on you to confirm it, if you're even suspected of it, you're put into the coronavirus category. Just like how is that helpful?
It does.
all it
It
does is mess up the data, and then we will never get a clear. We'll never have we'll never have clear numbers on this.
yeah. And that's what they want.
Right, and it also it goes hospitals are get money from the government for treating corona patients.
And they're actually like shutting down some of those like hospitals or they're laying off staff because they hired
Right,
all
like
these people
yeah, like a lot of
and
like smaller rural hospitals where there isn't a lot of people, uh, so they can't make they can't they can't maintain their staff, so they have to they have to fire a lot of people or they have to put a lot of people on furlough.
I mean that's why these people are making fucking TikTok videos.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's and I remember just when that USC study came out. I saw the briefing that Gavin Newsom gave. He was talking about no, it wasn't Gavin Newsom, but but someone was I forget who it was, but they were talking about how the whole reason why people who felt sick didn't go to the ERs, so we uh, wouldn't overload the system, the medical system, and so a lot of people abstain from going to the doctors or to hospitals for that reason. But now it's like because people have been doing that, there's not enough corona patients.
Yeah.
And so now the media is saying like, oh yeah, like now just come to the hospital. And so I think in California there was like a spike in cases, but it wasn't because all of us it wasn't all of a sudden, and it wasn't even like that like big of a spike. It was just like a 1 day spike thing. It was just because people were finally going to the hospital now.
Well, and the other problem too is that hospitals that switch to essentially um, coronavirus only stuff, they're hemorrhaging money because the stuff that they would use to pay for their bills, it's just gone. Because they
Right.
can't do
Well,
any
because yeah,
surgeries, they can't do the
right.
other like
Hospitals, their biggest, they make hospitals make 80% of their money in surgeries.
yeah.
And so people putting off surgeries, uh, no matter how big or small, they're losing money. It'd be like, say a burger place stopped selling burgers and fries. Burgers and no, fries and drinks. Fries and drinks is where they make up their margins for fast food.
Yeah.
And so if a burger place stopped selling fries and drinks, then they'd be losing a huge chunk of their revenue stream.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're not saying that you should go and start licking stuff or start coughing on people. That's not
No, no,
don't not at all.
don't do
That's
that. Don't do that normally.
don't do that normally. Or not even times of supposed epidemics. But we're just saying, look at it critically. Just like like that article in L.A. Times, and the headline made it sound like that people were dying because all these people became infected. But when you read down into it, it's like no, they did an antibody test, and it shows that people already had this virus, and survived it, and and it was more than at the time the number of deaths.
And I guarantee that headline, is from some editor at LA Times. Like, oh, we got to run this story, but we got to make sure that no one reads the, potential good news out of this. So let's create this headline that no one's gonna read past.
Right, like yeah. Well, it's you know what it is? It's headlines for midwits.
Yeah,
That's what it is. So they think that they got the entire. They think they got all the substance of the article within that title. That's what it is. It's headline titles for midwits, like people
And
who
not
are just
even,
above, just a little bit above average, but still not as smart.
and so you read these articles, and it's like, okay, well, first of all, it's not like what this headline is doesn't tell anything about the story. And then
Right.
when they finally do get to the story, it's like on paragraph 5 or 6, and it's like no one's reading that far.
Right. I mean, unless you're like us, who kind of, who do this, kind of opinion type of show. So we have to read
Or
everything.
these guys, yeah, or these guys get the head or they get the story wrong, and then they instead of printing a refraction, they have the main story on page A, but then they'll print a retraction in like the obituary column, somewhere on like page Z4 that no one's gonna
Yeah, yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah. Exactly.
Well, we did it. See right here.
Right. Or
You know we did
like what is it? ABC when they showed like the images of the supposed attack on the what is it?
it. On the it was a Turkey attacking the beloved Kurds.
Yeah, exactly. And it turns out it was footage from a gun range in Kentucky. And did they
Yeah, and
they aired it on their primetime news show. But did they make the retraction
yeah,
on the primetime news show? No, they made the retraction a fucking tweet.
yeah. Oh, and here's the other thing too. That wasn't even from that year. That wasn't from 2019.
Wait, the
That footage that they showed.
the footage of yeah, it was like from a year or so ago, right?
Yeah, so it's not even the right year. It's horseshit. Well, it's the same thing they did with all the people fucking freaking out about the Amazon burning down. Those were from the 80s.
Right, 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 right. Yeah, yeah. There's another reason why that you should be a little bit, not a little bit, a lot critical of the mainstream media. And also just Ryan Williams. He's like, yeah, like our chopper was shot down. Liar.
That guy, how does
Confirmed liar.
still
Confirmed liar.
how does he still have a job?
You get your news from a fucking liar. Then
I
if you then you running around with your fucking masks and gloves, and you don't have my pity. You don't have my pity. If you uncritically still watch the mainstream media, and I mean, I'll admit I sometimes still watch. I mean, mostly just because I want to see what they're saying and what they're not saying.
I
But
want to like instead of whipping myself in the back, just for to punish my sins, I'll just watch the mainstream
yeah, I mean nowadays, if you are not watching if you're not watching mainstream media, you know, uncritically, then you don't have my pity.